Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 87 of the Simply One podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends, passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, we got the show for you.
That's right. We got it.
Hey, no. You came to the right place.
It's here.
Yeah. Welcome. We
got
decided,
the juice.
Yeah.
We got the sauce.
The sauce. A little bit of dressing. No, we decided to go
Ice.
see...
Wrist and the flexing.
a little bit of flexing.
A little bit.
No, we did. We decided to go and see Killers of the Flower Moon, like we said last week. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of a toss-up because it is a long movie. We did. We saw it last night, and yeah, well, we're going to talk about it. We did. I do want to say we could hear Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Through the wall.
Yeah, we could. It just needs to stop, man.
Make it stop.
It's like Taylor Swift's
Can't keep getting away with this.
Rise of the Empire, man. It's all the Swifties. And they're in prime season right now with the pumpkin spice
Did you
latte.
just say they're in season?
They are in prime season. This is
I like that you're talking about them like they're deer.
This is their time.
It's Swiftie season.
No, this is
Just go out in our fucking hunter orange.
the day of reckoning.
The time is upon us.
Yeah. Well, I hear the trumpets. It's just their,
Gabriel's trumpets have sounded.
and it's just the sound of their Ugg boots squeaking.
You better quit picking on my wife right now.
Sorry, she fits the description. Getting Starbucks, got her fuzzy little Ugg boots, bumping a Swift.
Oh, yeah, man.
She's
She
part
is
of
a
it.
30-year-old white lady. I don't know what you want from me.
She part of it. She's part of the system, bro.
She's part of
Don't be part of the system.
Like it's like a system of oppression.
Happy birthday to the ground.
And I threw it on the ground. No, yeah. So in the news, we do have quite a bit. Small stories, but a lot of them, I think. It ain't going to be no hour of news. I ain't doing that on Killers of the Flower Moon. But we're also not going to go like we normally do with movies because it's too long of a movie to do that, too. We're not going to do a full chronological. And then this happened. We're just going to talk about parts we liked, rough overview, things we didn't like, if there's anything like that. And then, move on to Cryptid and shit like that.
That's right.
I do need to change gears before we get into the news. We did have a pretty sudden passing of Matthew Perry, most famously known as Chandler on Friends. He was 54 years old, and he passed away. At this moment, we don't really know entirely what happened. It was just said that he died Saturday in a hot tub at his Los Angeles home. That's according to the law enforcement that responded. The authorities responded around 4 p.m. to his home where he was discovered unresponsive, they said, and the LA's coroner's office has not established the cause of death yet. I did want to mention, there was a quote that had kind of been pulled up that I found from Matthew Perry because he has a book that he's been promoting. I don't know if the book's out yet or not. But he, in like a 2022 promotion of his memoir, he had said that the quote here about how he wanted his legacy to be remembered was, "I would like to be remembered as somebody who lived well, loved well, was a seeker, and his paramount thing is that he wants to help people. That's what I want." And yes, I think it came up because he kind of talked about how he knows he's going to be remembered for Friends, and he loves that, but he does hope that it's more than that,
Right.
Because he is somebody who struggled with addiction really bad for off and on for the last 30 years basically. And in the last few years, he's been sober and been working to help other people with the disease, and just kind of on their own journey and things like that. And so, I think that's something that he probably is talking about when he thinks about helping people, and that's how he wants to be remembered. We did get a kind of group statement from the rest of the cast where they kind of just came together and made a statement. They said, "We are all so utterly devastated by the loss of Matthew. We were more than just castmates, we're a family. There is so much to say, but right now we're going to take a moment to grieve and process this unfathomable loss. In time, we will say more as and when we're able. For now, our thoughts and our love are with Maddie's family, his friends, and everyone who loved him around the world." And yeah, it's that weird thing of they did a show 5 nights a week for,
Years.
a decade, I think it ran. And, they did a reunion a couple years back, I think, and talked, like old. I mean, they're old friends, you know. Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, it's that weird thing of like, especially when it's somebody, you know, like I said, it's sudden. He was 54 years old. That's
He's
so
not
young.
old, yeah.
And you know, you just hope that everybody is able to process it, and that hopefully, you know, if he was still struggling or anything like that, that he's at peace. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So obviously, you know, like I said, he did a lot of work with his book and things like that, and with other people struggling with substance abuse, as well as obviously you know, I saw a lot of people with that quote talking about how like they understand the sentiment, but like friends helped them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who are like, when they're real low or down, they like to put on, that's their comfort show, you know. And so whether he knew it or not, that's something that he always was doing, was helping people. So I think it's kind of a nice thing to think about. Yeah. And then, like we always say, it's kind of there's no easy way to veer out of, you know, talking about the passing of somebody. So we are going to now just move into the news. Kind of an odd story off top. Fucking the next Mission Impossible movie. So it was delayed to 2025, probably in part because of the strikes. Yeah. But they're dropping the subtitle, so it was, you know, going to be Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2. And it's like a bunch of people immediately were like, "Wait a minute." So wait a minute, hold on. They're not going to call it Dead Reckoning Part 2, which means that there's just a movie out there called Dead Reckoning Part 1 with no Part 2. You know, that'd be like going, I don't know. I mean, Captain America Part 1, and then you just,
that's it.
There's no Part 2.
No part 2.
It's just another, that's it. Which is bizarre. I do wonder how they're gonna, like, I wonder why, you know what I mean? Did they go, maybe that's why it didn't perform well at the box office? And it's like, well, no, maybe it's because you released it right in front of Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It got gobbled up in that. Because, like, the Mission Impossible movies always perform really well at the box office and are usually, like, above standard action. And so, yeah, for them to go, we're going to throw this right in the mix. We're going to toss our hat in the ring.
I bet you they got cocky because they always do well.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they also, like, right into the strikes, you know, and so it's just that really bad mix of not able to promote it and the movies that were kind of being self-promoted from the meme of Barbenheimer, you know, and then they both ended up being better movies than Mission Impossible.
Agreed.
You know, they just, it fell flat really quick. And so I don't know. I wonder if that had something to do with it, where they're like, maybe it was the name. People didn't like Dead Reckoning Part 1, so we're going to change this one. But now you've got a Dead Reckoning Part 1 floating around out there. Yeah. But, yeah, so like I said, it's going to be pushed back until May 23rd of 2025 instead of June of 2024, which, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's 8 months away.
Yeah.
And you probably haven't been filming it or had to stop filming.
Yeah, so you ain't got enough time.
So, let's see here. Daredevil Born Again got its showrunner. Ooh. So, you know, we talked about that they're doing a complete restructure. We're going to find a showrunner and actually do this like a TV show. And they found some directors. So, let's see here. Dario Scartapane, whose recent credits include Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, which does really well on Amazon. Yeah. As well as Netflix's Marvel show, The Punisher. So he's already got experience in that realm. He's been tapped to act as the new showrunner for the series, which is, like we talked about, in the midst of a creative overhaul. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. Additionally, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who are the co-directing team behind several indie genre thrillers, they apparently have directed multiple episodes of Loki Season 2, and they've been hired to helm the remaining episodes that will constitute the first season of Daredevil on Disney Plus. So pretty exciting that they are hitting the ground running on, all right, let's find somebody, let's do this.
Yeah, let's get started.
You know, it sounds like they're trying to avoid a major setback.
Yeah.
And go, how can we rush this but do it right? And so, yeah. And I like the resume so far of the people that they've grabbed. I don't want to get too into it, but there was a deep dive that IGN did with the director of, the creative director of Spider-Man 2. He kind of had a lot to say and like things that he didn't say, you know what I mean? Where those kind of give you a, ooh, why can't he talk about that, you know? And so like one of the Easter eggs in Spider-Man 2 is because there's a lot of Easter eggs in the first game of being able to find different locations in New York and, oh, that's the Wakandan embassy and that's, the Avengers Tower, and there's Nelson and Murdoch. You know, well, the Nelson and Murdoch building, the nameplate is there, but it has no writing on it anymore, and basically, so it's like it's been closed. And so a lot of people were like, "Why did they?" Like some people were taking it as a lack of detail, where like they just didn't put the name on there or something like that. And they're, you know, so IGN asked like, "Why is Nelson and Murdoch gone? You know, is that like, are they closed? Does Daredevil not exist in this world? What's the story there?" And he was like, I can't really talk about that. And so I'm like, oh fuck, if we get
a Daredevil game,
either a Daredevil game or like, you know, they did the story DLCs for Spider-Man 1 with Black Cat. I'd love to see some Spider-Man Daredevil, you know, because there is some, they definitely leave some threads open that I could see either that, you know, leaving their door open for themselves to do something with them, whether it be a DLC or a new game or something like that. It's the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game. They're going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Whether they want to or not, you know what I mean? Someone's gonna, because, you know, it just makes money. And, you know, they've got the Wolverine game in the works. And apparently there is some Easter eggs regarding Wolverine in the game. I didn't find them, but I was reading about them. And so they did confirm that it takes place in the same universe. It is a shared universe, that the Wolverine game and Spider-Man take place in the same world. So that's exciting too, because there's some new Easter eggs in the game that, again, I didn't find, other people did, of like hints of maybe the Fantastic Four and things like that. And so I like the idea of like, let Insomniac make like a shared universe of video games for Marvel.
I mean, yeah, like for Daredevil, like it'd be pretty cool to play as like a blind person.
Yeah, and see how they could
see,
you know,
how the controls for that would work.
Yeah, and like how do they, you know, do they do something different, or do they just make it a you know, similar
like,
to
is it
Spider-Man?
A stick or be pretty cool. What else, man?
I forgot what I was.
DLCs for like Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to tiptoe around some story stuff of like things that he talked about. He did talk about that. Some things that come up at the end of the game had always been the plan, and then there were some, because they kind of do, they like the ending of this game is not dissimilar to the ending of the first game, of like, here's some hints at what the next thing could be.
Sure.
And some of those aspects were the plan, like by the time they finished the first game, was they knew that's how they wanted the second game to end. And then there was apparently one addition at the end of this game that was like a pretty late addition of, fuck it, let's throw that in there and see if it gets any heat or gets any stick or anything like that. Which is kind of interesting. But I'm here for it. I want a third game. I could see them doing it as just a trilogy, and wrapping it up in 3. I don't know how they would move forward with like, because, you know, it's that weird thing of like, you don't want to kill everybody, but you don't want to keep everybody alive either, but you don't want to, you know, and because like if everybody's alive, then everybody's always going to be like, well, you know, Miles is still out there, Peter's still out there, you know, they could come back, make another game, you know. And so I do think it'll be a weird one of like, are they just going to be stuck making Spider-Man games as long as they make money? You know, I would hope they'd have the nerve to go, we're done.
Yeah.
And have the nerve to tell Sony, we're done. Because Sony's like, they're really banking on Spider-Man. You know, they're like, we're going to make all the villains in the movies. We're going to make fucking video games out the ass. Spider-Man's our guy, you know.
Well, like with that, they can do it kind of how, almost the ending that they gave Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, right, where he just starts to focus on himself, right, and he has, like, without his powers.
Yeah.
Make that the underlining focus of the entire game.
Sure, and then you've still got Miles.
Same thing.
To, like, fill out.
Yeah.
You know.
You have Miles, and Miles the same thing. He's working on him. They're both working on each other, and then there's a big problem.
Yeah.
Right, and then there's the sub thing to fill in when that's not going on.
Right. Yeah.
Right, and this one at the end, it's just, you know, the bad guys are all locked up, and now they're good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they won or whatever. Because that is the interesting thing about Spider-Man is like the villains always get out. He's always got a job, you know. And it's that weird thing of like, how old can he get before?
Well, and that's the thing too. Is like you can leave it as like the good guys are locked up for now. right?
The bad guys, yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, the bad guys are locked up for now,
Yeah.
and you can just leave it at that. And
Yeah.
you know, so sure. I mean, eventually they ought to
Yeah.
break out,
Yeah,
but that's the whole shtick. And then at the end, they get the rest like that.
Yeah. Did you watch the movie It Follows?
Mm-mm.
Do you know what it is?
Mm-mm.
So it's an indie horror movie from about 8 or 9 years ago, probably, where it's a pretty simple premise of like a young lady has sex with her boyfriend for the first time. Sex,
Premarital,
yeah, naturally, and then
disgusting.
quickly finds out that like he's given her a curse.
A word.
Where like when you have sex with somebody who's got this curse, it's basically like an STD curse. This like omnipresent, unwavering, unstoppable, just walking shapeshifter follows you, and when it gets you, it's gonna kill you.
Dude, I'm not even fucking playing.
Yeah.
I fucking saw that shit last week. It was following me.
Oh fuck.
I was taking up the
I
trash.
thought you meant the movie. I was like, I just asked you if you'd seen it.
I was taking out the trash at work. I just looked behind me.
Who gave it to you?
I baked you a pie, Mary. How do you have a pie? We don't have an oven. God help me.
Yeah.
But you let it go. Do you see how,
how it sounds? Yeah. No, it is a really good movie, and it's got some good like jump scare, you know, where with just because it is that thing of it can look like anybody, and it is just that I won't stop, and it's the doesn't break pace, it doesn't sprint at you, it just walks after you, you know. It kind of reminds me of the like internet meme of like, all right, if I gave you $1 million or gave you infinite money and you can go anywhere in the world, could you avoid this worm that's trying to touch you? You know, like how would you avoid this worm? And it's kind of that thing of like them trying to strategize of like, okay, you're gonna have sex with this person and then they can leave and things like that. Of like, how do we draw this thing away? You know, and like the internet was like, we've solved this movie real quick. There would be a Reddit. A subreddit for it. People would be signing up to have sex with each other because they lived on polar opposite ends of the world. You know, we can fly and meet up here, have sex, separate, and then, they're constantly just passing the thing around essentially to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Was how the internet said they would solve it. Well, all of that to say, it's getting a sequel called They Follow. That's going to bring the star back. Her name is Micah. I trust I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Micah Monroe, and the director, David Robert Mitchell. Isn't really any plot known, but it is set to release in 2025. The original was a budget of about $1 million, and it made $22 million.
Oh shit, that's a very successful movie.
Yeah, and so again, I'm kind of surprised it's been this long since they were like,
I'll have to watch it.
You want to make another one of those? Yeah, Morgan and I watched it. I think we watched it on like DVD, and we watched it on at home. But it was really good. We enjoyed it. I haven't paid too much attention, but there's an indie developer. I don't know where the sound's coming from. It's not on my screen.
I gotta love it. That scared the shit out of me.
You and me both, because like there's nothing on my screen that would be making noise, and it wasn't Spotify. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what came over me. No. Neon is the name of the producer that has been doing like indie horror films and things like that lately. And so, apparently they've been making some good stuff. Apparently they're the company behind Parasite, which won Best Picture a couple years back. And then I didn't see much about it, but the movie Infinity Pool that came out, I think earlier this year with Alexander Skarsgård. Like I said, I didn't hear or see much about it, but
pretty quiet.
No. So that's kind of exciting. I just saw that and was like, oh, word? Yeah, 'cause it's like an almost 10-year-old movie.
That'd be cool to see. Yeah, I'll have to watch the first one.
This one kind of, I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of maybe a sign of the way things are going. The Lionsgate have nabbed a interim agreement with SAG-AFTRA so that they can promote the Hunger Games prequel that's coming out in November. So apparently the reason this worked was because Lionsgate is not a member of the AMPTP, and so they're able to negotiate separately, and they just basically they came to some sort of an agreement and said, yeah, let's that's a good deal. Let's promote this movie, huh? And
shit.
SAG-AFTRA went, yep, sounds good. And so now you've got some, a potentially major release being promoted by actors again. It may do really, and then, it's a big franchise, and so they can drum up some,
happening.
So I think that might be
the beginning of the fall.
Yeah, some of the smaller members of AMPTP are going to see this and go, fuck, we got to make a deal.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens, is you get them to break up and make individual deals.
And they're going to start making money too, and they're just going to start.
And then the group just makes a deal. Yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty big movie to get the ability to promote again.
Yeah.
It's not like a small indie film like some of the A24s have been doing, because A24 made a deal immediately.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things, was like, if A24 can agree to these terms,
but now
Disney can agree to this. Yeah, now Lionsgate said, yeah, it's fine. So Rachel Ziegler, she'll be promoting the movie here. And she did make a post, I believe. Yeah, she on Instagram said, "I'm so beyond thankful to Lionsgate and SAG-AFTRA for working so hard throughout the strike to come to an agreement, allowing us to participate in press and promotion for our film, which comes to theaters on November 17th. Lionsgate's efforts are proof that studios, big and small, can meet us in a place of fairness for their films and the people who work so hard to make them. Making this movie was hands down one of the best experiences of my life thus far. I cannot wait to share more behind-the-scenes content with you all, the fans, who make experiences like this 8 million times better. There will be lots of all of my beautiful friends from the cast, as well as appreciation for our crew, which is filled with people I love so deeply. So watch this space. There's more to come." Talking about her Instagram. Yeah, so she is driving, jumping in. Let's start promoting this thing.
Good.
Get the movie out there, and
Good. I hope it does well.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like a double thing. It's like she wanted to do well because, she worked hard on it, right? And then also, if this does really well, it's that canary in the coal mine kind of thing where the studios look at it and go, "Oh shit,
Yep. Fuck.
no." That's because they're past their 100-day mark.
All right. See you around.
See you around. And so yeah, I think that is everything. For
Top end
for the news. I crushed that in like 28 minutes, dude. Fuck. Come on now. You doubted me? You doubted me?
Come on.
You give me a synopsis for this thing? While I pull up the box office. Just tell us what the movie was about. Just give us a brief, here's what the movie was about. You don't have to look up a quote. Whoa there. Easy, killer.
Set in the 1920s Oklahoma, it focuses on a series of murders.
What's the voice?
Huh?
Why are you fucking Benoit Blanc?
It's just Oklahoma in the 20s.
That doesn't sound like Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
How would Chris read it?
Set in the 1920s Oklahoma, it focuses on a series of murders of Osage members and relation in the Osage Nation after oil was being produced on tribal land. Tribal members had retained their mineral rights on the reservation, and whites sought to gain their wealth.
Yep. Oh, I'm done.
The white man.
You better watch your tone over there, young man. Talking about me.
I don't like him.
The white man. Nah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Huh?
I'm white. I can't.
Huh? I love seeing that TikTok of the cat. And
Huh?
oh,
Huh?
oh,
Huh? Morgan, I've been getting a kick out of the. I don't know if you've been seeing this, but I think it's a clip from like a kids movie or a kids show with puppets of like this one puppet that's dressed up like a princess, kind of prancing out into the room, and the other puppet is like, "Who's that beautiful girl? Can she be any sweeter?" And like doting on her. And it's just all of the memes have been people being like, "My boyfriend gassing me up after I've been a bitch all day because I got overstimulated," And it's just, "Who's that beautiful girl?" And she's just
I'm putting on the kick with the cat. That
yeah, the cat losing its mind. Let's see here. Killer to the Flower Moon was given a 93% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and an 85% from the viewers, the audience members. And then on the good old IMDb, it has... Oh, stop trying to make me sign in IMDb, you son of a bitch. I swear to God, Jeff Bezos. It'll be your ass. 8.1 out of 10.
Wow.
Oof, that's not great. I saw 5.6 for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dude, but it's got like a 93 audience.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Man.
Got a bunch of fucking Minecraft hoodie wearing kids
Yeah,
rolling up.
I'm that Minecraft hoodie wearing kid.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't a Minecraft hoodie.
Not
but
in
I
high
was.
school wearing the creeper hoodie.
Creeper?
Smelling like grease.
Oh, man.
With a girlfriend.
So we back in the mine.
With a girlfriend that meows at you in the hallway.
Got a pickaxe swinging from side
to side, side to side. Anyways, stop that. It's made so far. Let's see here, $84 million worldwide, nearly 85, on a budget of $200 million. So, yeah.
Not making its money back.
No, probably not. That is a very large budget to give.
And that's just too long of a movie. I think it's such a big deter that people...
it's got a really big... And, like, unfortunately, it's releasing between Taylor Swift and FNAF. Like, FNAF made fucking $80 million this weekend. Sorry. Like...
How much... What if... Well, I guess we'll have to go see FNAF before we... If you want to hear the stats of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not pulling up the stats of FNAF. Fuck you.
Hit my nose on the mic.
I saw that. But yeah, I mean, like, Taylor Swift's been crushing the box office the past 2 weekends. And then you're going to release...
What's she been crushing?
The box office. And
the
then
what?
The box office. And then, like, you're going to release an almost 4-hour, like, art film, essentially. You know, I mean, it's like, it's a super digestible art film. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's being promoted as, like, AMC Artisan Films. You know what I mean? And, like, you're just not going to put asses in seats. Mm-mm. Not in the way you need to make $200 million back.
Yeah.
That seems fucking goofy to me. Though, I mean, sometimes a studio will do that. They'll take a loss on, like, a prestige film to go, look, art. You know what I mean? It's a Scorsese, you know? And then it makes, it fucking makes Oscars, or makes Oscars. It wins Oscars and shit like that. And then, you know, it's got acclaim and things like that. And you go, they can say from the studio that brought you Killers of the Flower Moon. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so they will do that. And maybe that's what this is. But I mean, that's a fucking big loss if it's not going to make its money back. And you put $200 million and then can't promote the bitch because you won't fucking play ball.
Swing, bye-bye.
Swing a mess. I don't even know who, I didn't pay attention. Who produced this? Or who was the studio? Let's find out here. I got the old in and out. Paramount. It was distributed by Paramount. Which means when it goes to streaming, it'll probably go to Paramount Plus. Or no, it's through Apple TV Plus.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Like, oh, nice. I didn't realize we were repping colors for fucking streaming services.
Well, we have Apple TV.
We've got all of them. Just about.
We don't have Paramount.
No, we don't.
What?
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
You.
Tell you what, now you're boring. But no, yeah, I mean, we know how we do this shit around here. We're gonna give it some non-spoiler plot thoughts. Talk about some characters and chemistry.
Yep.
Rate the B, and then we'll just spoil the fuck out of it, man. So why don't you give me a start here? What are your non-spoiler plot thoughts?
The plot's slow, but it needs to be.
Yeah,
That's.
I mean, you've got to keep in mind it is a true story.
Yeah.
And so it's not. They've got to balance the act of like make it compelling, but also be honest. Mm-hmm. You know.
But yeah, so it needs to be slow, but there are times where I'm like, damn, like this is just one thing after another.
Yeah, there is a point where it feels like the movie's coming to an end, and it is when you consider that it's a 3-hour and 40-minute movie.
Yeah.
But there is still about 60 minutes left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the falling action.
Yeah.
And we were like,
which we'll talk about. We'll talk about the part where I thought the movie was going to end, and I was just like, oh my God. But I mean, as far as like for the continuity of the plot, I mean, it was pretty through and through. Everything had its place. Like you're saying, it's based off a true story, so everything just makes sense. I mean, the characters, between the two, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, who, oh my God, what's his name?
Oh, here, I'll pull up the IMDb so we just got the full cast for you.
Because I don't know the actress's name who plays.
See full. Her name's Lily Gladstone is her name. Ernest Burkhart is his character, and she's Molly. Yeah.
I'm indifferent. Because a part of me is like, oh, it seems really like cute.
Yeah, like there's times where their relationship seems they do a good job there.
Very genuine.
I thought Leonardo DiCaprio did a really, really good job of like portraying that like he's kind of a simple dude.
He's just,
you know what I mean?
He did a really good job playing a simple dude.
Yeah.
Like of being like he's not really book smart, but he's just
he's
a good hard worker.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. He's not even super charming. You know what I mean? Where a lot of times they might go, yeah, he's slick, but he's and he's not slick, he's
not slick.
Yeah, but he does seem well intentioned at times.
Yeah,
where you're like, oh, he's a good guy.
He means well.
Yeah, he pulls that line really well of like he means well, because there's times in their relationship where, I genuinely believe the love between the two of them,
which we'll talk about that.
Yeah, which will come up. And I thought Lily Gladstone, there's a scene in particular that I was like, holy fuck, she is acting right now. Like, oh my God.
There's a couple scenes where, I was like, holy fuck. Shit.
Yeah. And I believe, I was trying to read up on her. I think this is a very early film for her. Yeah, so it's not necessarily early in her career, but she hasn't done much in the way of like, major starring roles or anything like that, and no big name projects or anything like that, to then go to being in a Scorsese film. So yeah, I think that's exciting, because she definitely, I think she'll be one that she's going to get work off of this movie. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, there's definitely like one scene in particular I was thinking about last night. I was like, fuck.
It's kind of like with Ke Huy Quan,
yeah.
Doing everything everywhere all at once, and everyone was like, getting his name back
out there. Yeah.
So and
same with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, and so you're good at acting, and
yeah, which he actually has a pop-up role in this.
He does, which I did not know, and that threw me off. And I was
like, yeah, I think he has like a quick frame in the trailer. Which, to be fair, he's only in this movie for like maybe a grand total of 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I really enjoyed Robert De Niro's character in this.
I always forget, like, I mentioned this.
Like, he's a good actor.
I always forget how fucking old he is, because
he's 80 years old.
He doesn't act 80 years old.
No, and like, to hear him talk outside of projects, like when he's just, like, politically, he's very, like... He's pretty woke, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, for an 80-year-old man, he's very young in the way he behaves and carries himself and believes. And apparently, we were joking this morning. He's fucking
pushing rope.
Yeah.
He's slinging weed.
He's shooting ropes, my man. He's got a fucking baby. He's got a newborn, like maybe a toddler at this point. I don't remember when he had the kid, like last year. And he's fucking 80 years old. Ah, damn.
That'd be 100.
Yeah.
And see this kid basically graduate.
Yeah.
Jeez.
God damn. All of that to say, he does a very good job in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people in this movie, I think I've seen some people kind of talk about this. We're like, without getting into too much spoilery detail, a lot of the main characters in this are the bad guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I did see some people critique the film for that, of like, maybe they shouldn't be the focus of the movie. Considering the movie is on paper is about what was done to the Osage. And so I think there is a weird, like, it really toes a line of making the perpetrators the heroes. You know what I mean? And it has to find a real balance. We're like, I don't know if I should be rooting for this guy to succeed, You know what I mean?
I guess my only thing is like to understand it in the perspective of what is it, the second person, if I'm saying that right, where it's like we know context clues that some of the characters in the movie don't.
I talk about like situational irony, where like we've got insider info.
Yeah, but it isn't like there's first person, second person, and third person perspective.
Maybe, I mean,
And it's like that's just like a lot of times like how movies are.
Yeah.
And it's like first person is like you're following the person directly. You don't like whatever the character hears is what you hear. You hear nothing else outside of that. And then like second person is you have insight that the other character doesn't, and then third person is you have on both.
Right, you know all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for that one, it's honestly I would say second person.
Probably.
Because we don't know a whole lot of insight from Molly.
Yeah, from Molly's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know what she thinks or knows. Which I again, is I think one of the thoughts. Like I would have liked to have seen more Molly. She does kind of take a back seat for a minute of the movie, which is a shame because Lily Gladstone really she was doing a lot of work.
Killed it.
Like pay that woman.
Her back's hurting.
Mm-hmm. Now the thing I was trying to read about her, I was trying to find out if she is Osage herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she was raised on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation. I'm not sure. Give me a little bit more thought and I'll try and find out.
But Robert De Niro's character with Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, it definitely does feel like kind of like that. It's his uncle. He's trying to like guide him, and you can kind of tell that he's like kind of taking pity on him of like, he's a good kid. He don't got his life in order.
Yeah.
He's got nothing going for him, so I'm letting him work for me while he figures it out.
So no, it doesn't sound like she is Osage, but I know that they did have like a consultant who was from the Osage tribe there on set, like trying to help them as best as they could of like, this is what it was like.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that clear, just so I knew.
But yeah, so he kind of takes him under his wing and lets him work for him, and then he finds out that old Molly is single.
Yeah. Are we getting into spoilers?
It's not a spoiler.
No. But you were getting ready to start just rolling into here's how the plot rolled.
Yeah, I was ready to get into it. Let's talk about
How do we rate stuff then?
You could, pretty easy, really. You could just be overwhelmed, which means your expectations were surpassed and you thoroughly enjoyed the film.
I think we need to put an and or. Your expectations were surpassed, or you enjoyed the movie, or you enjoyed the movie. Because sometimes we haven't decided what it means, actually. Sometimes we go, I'm going to say underwhelmed because it didn't meet my expectations. What if you had really high expectations? You know what I mean? And it just turned out to be an okay film. I would think that'd be simply whelmed.
You can be
You can be a simp.
You can be a simp. You can be underwhelmed, which means that was a big fat stinker.
Yep.
Wasn't good.
Or it didn't meet your expectations.
Or you could always meet right in the middle and be simply whelmed. 3, 2, 1.
Overwhelmed.
Simply whelmed.
Yeah.
I was simply whelmed.
Yeah.
It
seemed like it was going to be more actiony.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. And
Did you go into it with your Marvel head?
No. Not a Marvel head. I figured, I guess it wouldn't have been, like there are just parts where I felt like it was a bit chaotic.
Okay.
Which I mean is part of the story because everything kind of falls in shambles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we're in spoilers.
Yeah, we're in spoilers.
Yeah.
But then like just on certain parts throughout the movie, I just felt like, I mean, just a lot's happening right now. It's like it's hard to
follow.
Yeah.
There is a lot of like,
because it's like this is happening while this is happening, that's happening because this is happening.
And there's a lot of like naming people that you've only seen once or haven't seen at all.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to like remember who's that.
We never met from the couple from the house.
We're in spoilers, my man.
Well, yeah,
the house that blows up? Yeah, we met them. That's her sister and husband.
I thought it was one of the sisters that we didn't meet.
No, we've met all of her sisters.
Okay.
I think it might have just been you not paying attention.
I was tearing up that pizza in
Yeah,
there.
you were like locked in on food, my man.
I didn't eat that day.
I know. But yeah, no, I mean we met them. And like the sister who dies first
Yes.
of disease,
Yes.
that's her husband, and then he moves on to one of the other sisters. And they expressly say that.
Yeah, I know who we're talking about now. Come on now. Come on, King.
Come on, King. Pull it back now, King. Because there's the eldest sister who is murdered. I think then it's...
No investigation.
Nope. And then I think it's Molly. And then the sister that dies of disease. And then the sister that's blown up.
Kaboom.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of teased it there. Not teased it, but like mentioned it there. I really liked that open of like Molly just narrating kind of coldly. Here, like you see somebody, like either footage of somebody or a photo of somebody, and then being like, this is Elizabeth White, 22 years old, and then it just does a hard cut to them dead laying in bed, and then she says, no investigation.
No investigation.
And just listing off all of these dead Osage. That like how this many people died and there's just not been anybody.
Nothing.
Nobody's looked into it. And it's one of those, well, why would there be? It's the 20s on an Indian reservation, and yeah, because this takes place, it starts in 21.
Yeah.
It takes place over several years, which I didn't think was expressed well enough at first, but then I caught on.
Yeah.
Like as they kind of like slipped into the conversation of like, remember when your sister died 2 years ago? And I was like, oh shit.
I thought literally the biggest thing for me is watching them have more kids.
Yeah.
Like they had one kid and then like a couple scenes later, I noticed they had two.
Yeah.
And then a couple scenes later, they had three.
Yeah.
I was like,
well,
okay.
some of those kids were the orphans of her sisters. Yeah. I think the two oldest were her sister's kids that, which is so fucked up because then the husband like is alive. You know what I mean? And he just moved on to the other sister.
Yeah.
And just was like, here you go, Molly, take care of your sister's kids for me.
And like, how is that just like, okay? Well, I mean, it's the 20s.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, because like that's the thing is this really shows a lot of ugly of like there's the misogyny on top of the racism. And it just kind of layers it on where you're like, fuck, there's just a lot of mistreatment.
And so like kind of going back to what we were saying about like how what's his name?
Which one?
Leo.
Ernest.
Ernest feels like during that scene when he's talking to Molly's sister's husband, who has moved on to the next sister, and he's like, I don't like talking to you.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're gross.
Yeah, like I don't like you.
And so like to me, like there's a lot of like him being genuine of like, dude, your wife died last week and you're fucking her sister.
Yeah. Well, and he even like they run into and he's like, oh, so you guys are going on now,
Yeah.
And he's like, well, she really was a good comfort to me, after Millie's passing. And it's like, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
When like it's well known that a lot of white men are coming to Fairfax just to marry an Osage woman and get her
property
land
or
rights,
land.
Get her oil money. Because that's the thing is, that comes up a lot is that this is Osage land, and then you find out there's oil there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Osage made a lot of money with deals with the oil companies of like, that's fine, but, you're going to pay us handsomely for this land. For the use of the land. They're not giving the land up, right? And so most of the Osage don't have like a need to work.
No.
Like, Molly's family.
Yeah, they don't work.
They don't have. The thing that I want to look up, just for the historical context, was she was checking in often with an authority of some kind. for like her allotment, which is sort of like Social Security or whatever. I don't know if he was a representative from the oil company or the government.
I assume it's probably for like the government.
But like she checks in and is like, Molly, I forget what her maiden name is. Let me see if I can find. Either way, she's like, I'm Molly, whatever her maiden name is, incompetent. Like she had to check herself in as incompetent, and I don't know why. You know what I mean? I was looking for context on it, and so I want to just look up, like, get some historical context for that. Like, what was the allotment? Like I said, was that governmental or was it the oil company? Was that her check from the oil company? Because also, it's a reserve, so like the federal government really doesn't have any. They have no say there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all tribal law. Or at least it is now. I don't know. Again, that's some of the historical context that I'm missing.
Law.
That's some of the historical context that I'm missing is like, how was it operated in the 20s? You know what I mean? Has it always been, you've got the tribal police and the tribal law? Or how was that managed? I don't know. Because like the sheriff...
he was like, it's...
Yeah, and like, there was a lot of corruption of like fucking Robert De Niro is a humongous piece of shit in this movie.
Yeah.
Like an absolute monster.
He's the devil.
Yeah. And like doing that whole like smile on your face while I stab you in the back because he's talking about being a friend of the Osage and like he speaks their language and has been a friend of the community for years, like decades, and like builds hospitals and building, like new storefronts and things like that, like gives to the community at the same time as he's murdering effectively. He's scheming to murder. What was it being like 25 murders?
Something like that.
They said nearly 30 murders to just try and get money, and it's that thing of like, how can you look these people in the face?
And there's that scene where he comes up and he's walking over to Millie, and she's crying, and he like puts both his hands on her shoulders, and he's just telling her in like a super sweet voice, like, "I'm so sorry, just make sure you can come to me if you need anything."
Yeah, she's
like,
sick.
Yeah, and then she's just crying, but she's looking at him terrified.
Yeah,
and that made me think, like, is she crying because she's sick, or is she crying because...
I think it was fear of death.
You think?
At that point, I don't know that anybody really suspected him as being a piece of shit. I think she was just really scared of dying. Because he kind of makes the comment that Osage women don't live past 50. And that a lot of them die from wasting disease.
Oh, yeah, and that pissed me off, too. Robert De Niro's character looks at it as, like, an investment.
Yeah, like he uses the phrase,
these aren't people.
That's a good investment. And you're like, what the fuck?
Like, what?
And so that's where some of the weirdness gets in, is like, I believed that Ernest loved Molly.
I do too.
But I also believe that he is a humongous monster as well for going along with his uncle's plan. You know what I mean?
I think he's just racist. I think
Which one?
Ernest. Well, they're both of them.
Yeah.
But like Ernest in the sense of like, he meant well, right? And he loved Molly.
Did he mean well? He got into the thing because of money. And because his uncle told him to.
Well, she was in fact a customer for him for a long time,
right,
and
yeah.
he was genuinely hitting off with him, which he even says when he testifies at the end. He's like, "No,
yeah,
he did not push me to talk to her."
Right.
And so now makes me think like, I think that's genuine. I think,
but he did poison his wife.
He did.
Like, you can't get around
change that. Yeah,
and like helped murder her siblings. So like, he's a monster.
No, I'm not saying he's not.
And like, I think he is. And like, he even mentions a lot that like he's greedy. Like he says, I love money.
He's like,
I almost love more
money
than my wife.
Yeah, I almost love money more than my wife.
As he's killing her to get her money. And so, I mean, he does play the conflicted really well. Of like, at the end, I do think that both things are true. That like, he loves his wife and he loves his kids, but he also would really love to have her money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a really weird situation to put him in of like, if she died, he wouldn't be as beat up as he needed to be because he'd have her money. Because like I think about the scene when he is in jail and his daughter dies from whooping cough, and he has a full on meltdown. The scene talking about a meltdown when he tells Molly that her sister died in the explosion, and she has like a very believable, like made me sick to my stomach because it feels like you're watching someone grieve heavily.
Yeah, she starts
like
screaming,
almost hyperventilating, drops to her fucking like to just her ass. She just falls down, sobbing and screaming, and I was like, oh my god, like I got teary eyed because it's like that sympathetic tear of like, fuck, I'm watching someone really grieve right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think I've talked about it before. Like, I think about like Tony Stark in, not to bring it back to Marvel, but I think about Tony and fucking
Tony Stank.
In Endgame, where like Robert Downey Jr. kind of does a little bit of like overacting in the scene when he's like, you know, where were you, man? You know, and like hands him the thing. He's like, take that and run. You know, and he's like yelling and he collapses all bit. You know, and it's like, he's really going for it, isn't he? You know what I mean? Which is a shame because like he's a good actor.
Yeah.
You know? But so it's really hard to pull off like big dramatics.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And that was genuine. Like I bought her hard. I was like, whoa, this is tough.
Yeah.
And same with Leo in the jail cell. That was again another one where it almost felt like intrusive to be seeing it, where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be seeing.
I shouldn't be here.
This is something that he needs to be doing alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That like Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Lily Gladstone are probably going to get nominated for Oscars for this.
I think they all should.
Because like, and they all could win. Because they, you know, Robert De Niro is a supporting actor, I would say.
Yeah.
But so the way they handle violence in this movie, it's really like, I mean, it's the way that Martin Scorsese handles violence a lot. Have you seen any of his movies other than The Wolf of Wall Street?
Did he make War Dogs?
He did not.
What movies have you made?
The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon. I don't know, I can pull up his full filmography for you. But I kind of had the hunch that you probably hadn't when you said that it wasn't as action as you thought it was going to be. Because he doesn't really do, like he did, you know, Goodfellas, he did Vegas, pretty sure he did Vegas, Taxi Driver, he's got a lot of producer credits too, of like movies that he didn't direct. I always think that's interesting when you go, oh wow, he put money into that. Obviously, he did The Irishman a few years back, which was another like 4-hour movie. Yeah, with Robert De Niro. That one got a lot of shit like this. He's an executive producer on Uncut Gems.
Okay.
But no, I don't think you have. But yeah, anyways. Oh, he did Shutter Island. Have you seen Shutter Island? No. Okay. You seen The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes. No, I'm thinking Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, okay. You seen Gangs of New York? That's kind of an action-y movie. Yeah, I don't think you've seen Casino. I said Vegas. Casino is the name of the movie. But anyways, Martin Scorsese has a fucking cameo in this movie at the end. He's the guy that does the end narration of Molly's obituary.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting way to do like the in place of the black screens, you know, like at the end of based on a true story movies, a lot of times you'll get your wrap up in like, you know, a black screen with white text that says, you know, Ernest, what's their last name? What the fuck's his last name?
No.
Burkhart. Yeah. Ernest Burkhart went to jail for life for this,
right.
You know. And in place of that, they did like a 1950s radio show, which was a real thing. It was true crime stories brought to you by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. And it's a live studio audience, radio production of like, they've got an orchestra and they've got a narrator who's reading pages and they've got people acting out like different lines and things like that. And they basically did like the 1950s radio version of a true crime podcast telling the story of the Osage murders. I think that like the Colloquially, it's known as like the Osage Reign of Terror, which kind of painted in a weird light of like, it almost makes it sound like the Osage were the ones on like a reign of terror, and it wasn't. It was the flip. They were under a reign of terror. And I really liked that, of doing it that way.
Was cool.
Because it was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before.
But it looks like that's how it works.
Yeah, and it kept it kind of in tone in a way.
Yeah.
Of like, it didn't break us out of it at all. And like, has that really depressing note of like reading Molly's, like Molly did die young.
Mm-hmm. She did die of diabetes.
From diabetes. Which when I was reading, because I was trying to figure out, because he talked about a lot of women dying of, they called it wasting disease. Mm-hmm. It sounds like that's just what they call diabetes sometimes. And I wonder, apparently I found this out again. That's why I kind of like movies like this, where it makes you curious about either a people or a culture or a time period of like, I don't really know much about that. Yeah, I found out that indigenous peoples are like 3 times more likely than non-Hispanic whites to have a diagnosis of diabetes. And like, I was trying to read, there isn't like a, because I was trying to find out if it was like a genetic thing, or if it was like some weird sociocultural thing.
Sure.
Of like, and that is one of the leading theories, is like, they even brought it up in this, of that it's the white man's food doing it to them. And I do think there's a thing of like, for so long that culture ate a certain way.
Yeah, and they just can't handle this kind of food.
And then we show up with fucking sugars and grains and cured meats and things like that. You know, here's bacon and pancakes and syrup and all that. And it just wasn't their, you know, their bodies weren't accustomed to that. And so a lot of them got diabetes. And then I wonder, I don't know how the science behind diabetes works, but does that make like type 1 more likely as well, where you're just born with it, or what?
I bet you she'd probably be.
Yeah, because type 1's where you're born with it, and type 2's where you develop it from your habits. But I did think it was interesting that like we get to see her be one of the few people being treated with insulin at the time.
Yeah.
And I was reading about it. Insulin did come about in the 20s, where it was originally drawn from hog and cattle pancreas.
Ooh.
Apparently the way they figured out that it was the pancreas was like 2 French scientists, like students, cut the pancreas out of a dog. And then the dog developed like diabetes symptoms, and they were like, well, I'll be a son of a bitch. The pancreas causes diabetes. Which, I mean, that is how we learn a lot.
Yeah.
Is like, well, what part isn't working? Now what doesn't the body do?
Right.
Oh, that's what that part does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the brain. That's how we figured out the brain was, this person came in from a car accident and the front of their head was fucked up, and now they are angry all the time and have short-term memory loss. Oh, that part of the brain must manage emotions and short-term memories, you know? But no, I just thought that was all interesting. Anyways, yeah, I did. I enjoyed the movie. But I think, again, that might have been an expectation thing of, I'm a little bit more familiar with Scorsese movies, of like, it's going to be like a crime drama and not like a high octane shoot 'em up, blow up stuff.
But I wasn't expecting it to be a high octane movie. I don't know. There's just some parts that really confused me. I just felt like it's just a bit chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Like I said, there was some parts where I'm going, okay, which one is that?
Yeah.
What they're naming, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I do think it's worth a watch. I don't know if it's a movie theater watch.
Nah, you're good at watching it at home.
Yeah. But I do worry that, like, with it being such a long movie, watching it at home, people may drift to their phones and then just not watch the movie. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, we do have really poor attention span.
We do.
Just as a people.
Yeah. I have a really bad attention span.
You sure do.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about you being an iPad kid at work.
Yeah.
That you just got to put something on your phone while you're eating.
I do. It's Gordon Ramsay right now. Well, lately it's been the specials on YouTube. I've been watching them.
Yeah, I got to put you on, dude.
You did. You put me on that real hard. And I finished the entire series in a matter of like
Yeah, it's only the 2 seasons, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But they did a recap with them after COVID.
Oh, really?
Over Zoom. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. I want them to bring it back. I want to see, like, where are they now?
Yeah. Can you do me a favor? Can you move your mic to one side or the other? It's catching like a shadow directly on your face from the candle. There we go. Yeah, we're doing the spoopy style with the candlelight only.
Spoopy.
It's either spooky or romantic. It's whatever you want.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Maybe it's just so damn romantic it's scary, you know? But no, I mean, I don't have much more I want to say. Did you want to talk about Brendan Fraser at all?
I mean, yeah, Brendan Fraser was in there, which was cool.
Mm-hmm. John Lithgow as well is the prosecuting attorney.
Yes.
And I when I heard him talking, I was like, is that John Lithgow? And then the camera panned and I was like, fuck me, it is.
For Brendan Fraser, I'm not sure if that was a fat suit or if that was his actual weight. But
I think that's his actual size.
He got big.
I mean, yeah, he was big at the Oscars.
Not that big.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it wasn't thin.
And
he wasn't humongous in this.
No, but like, I was like a big jump. Like, because the whale came out. Because in the things for the whale, he was like cut.
No.
He wasn't like ripped, but I mean, he wasn't. Almost kind of makes me think your dad. He's not like big, but he's just he's a
large guy.
He's a large guy. He's tall and he's broad shoulders.
Yeah.
But then now, he was kind of big.
Why are you dogging on his weight, my man?
I ain't, man. Just an observation.
You know, maybe he's happy with his body now.
As he should be. He's Brendan fucking Fraser, bro.
God damn. Get off the man's back.
I hope he becomes like the whale if it means he's happy.
I hope he is so fat it becomes he's unable.
If he's happy, then
if he's happy with that, you know.
Then that's what I would want for him. Who am I to determine?
I agree. Jesse Plemons was in this movie. Meth Damon.
Oh,
yeah. He's been in. I saw that stat. He's other than I think the year 2019. He has been in an Oscar-nominated movie every year since like 2017. He just rolls up in a movie, has 30 minutes of screen time, and then just fucking says deuces all the time.
Yeah, he wasn't really in that too much.
And you know that there's going to be some sinister shit going on whatever he's in. You know, I mean, he plays fucking a sociopath in Breaking Bad.
A really well sociopath too.
Yeah.
Not like the character, but him playing the character.
Yeah, he plays it well. The fuck's Todd? I was like, what the
El Camino was so fucking good.
Yeah, it was.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah. But, that's all I got about the movie, man.
Yeah, it was good. Give it a watch.
Yeah.
I'd be cool watching it at home again. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I would too.
I think I would.
And like I said, it does make me very curious. Like, I want to... This was apparently an adaptation of a book that was written about the events.
Okay.
I wouldn't be opposed to reading the book.
No, that'd be cool.
I ain't much of a reader because of the attention span, but...
I'm just too damn stupid.
I'm willing to try.
By God,
there's
a will.
I'll give her a poke. Now, I might need to do an audiobook because I can do something with my hands.
I might have to use my finger. To help you read?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, reading. Yeah. What you been thinking about, my man?
I think what you meant to say is, welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host.
I didn't know we were doing this segment.
Uh-huh.
No, I thought it went away.
No.
You've been fucking dropping the ball the last 9 weeks.
No. It's back. And it's here. It's here to fucking stay.
Did you finally do your homework, or is that what you were doing here while I was getting read up?
I was just finishing it up. I found it, and then I found like a more...
in-depth.
Yeah. Let me see. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the ghost of Bellamy Bridge.
Ghost?
The ghost. And... hey, shut the fuck up, man.
Where are the cryptids?
In the Mariana, Florida.
Florida. The White River Monster. Remember that one? That was a good one.
My White River Monster. Huh? So it says here that...
Oh, excuse me.
In the 1830s, Elizabeth Jane Crum Bellamy married local politician Dr. Samuel C. Bellamy. On their wedding night, her dress accidentally caught on fire, which covered the young bride in horrible burns. She initially survived, but eventually passed away over time. She intentionally survived.
She survived on purpose.
But then eventually passed away due to the conditions. Elizabeth was buried along the banks of the Chipola River, and it's said that her love for her husband was so strong that she couldn't rest. The deceased newlywed, dressed in white, can allegedly be seen wandering the banks from the vantage point of the bridge. which was built after she died.
Oh.
So they built it to be like, that's where you can see her.
Yeah.
Like, that's how real this is.
They
They're
set
like,
a stage for her.
listen, we're going to go ahead and build this here so you can stand on it and be like, look, there she is. Standing right now, and they look at her walking. But it says that she can allegedly be seen wandering the banks from the vantage point. And it has also said that she either appears to be on fire, walking through the swamps, or diving straight into the river as if to douse the flames.
Sure.
Or somberly walking along the side of the river. And it says if you try to come in contact with you, she'll kill you and just scream bloody murder, right? And just tear you apart.
Jesus.
And then yeah, and just more of a description on her is her ghost kind of has obviously a white dress that's all tattered, an unusual blue and white misty shadow, and just a young woman.
Yeah.
And the trail is actually located on
White? She white?
Yeah, she white. Yeah, she's white.
Of course she is.
Yeah. It's Florida.
Yeah.
Pure blood. It does say here that the trail is located in 4057 Country Road 162, Mariana, Florida. So, I mean, if you're around that area, we got a buddy that moved out there not too long ago.
Yeah, give
so
it a
if he's
peek.
listening to this episode, check it out there, man.
Yeah.
Let's see some pictures and we can get you, maybe
Show us your face.
show us your face, brother. But
Y'all want to see my face?
y'all want to see my face? Let me see here when I refresh the page by accident.
This show is an absolute go fuck.
Okay, so as far as Samuel, Dr. Samuel, after his wife died, promising to love him forever and always in their vows, he never recovered from her death and spent the next 15 years in mourning before taking his own life the day after Christmas.
Jesus.
Samuel's final wish was to be buried beside Elizabeth, but according to the beliefs of the time, he could not. But during the beliefs at the time, he couldn't be buried out there because he had taken his own life, and so they said no, like we won't put you out there because of, I guess, religious purposes.
Right, yeah, he sinned.
So they put him in a grave buried in Chattahoochee.
What'd you call me?
Chattahoochee.
Yeah, that's Chattahoochee.
Chattahoochee.
Yep. Why'd you put a southern accent on it?
Chattahoochee, Florida. In a grave that has been lost in time.
I like that our Floridians have trucker hats. You know what I mean? Like, I can hear the hat on them.
Yeah.
It just says, like, beer.
But then legend also has it
It
that
used to say Bud Light, but not no more.
not no more. We switched it to Miller.
Miller. It's got Modelo.
Dos a case.
I got like me one of those Dos X's, you know?
Those X's. But apparently Dr. Samuel's spirit can also be found roaming the bridge, hoping to find his wife.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that was a little spooky, man. Like, just
I guess if you're a little piss baby.
I mean, hey, man, call me a baby covered in piss, bro. Because if I saw that shit on the bridge, I don't know about you, I'd be pissing my pants.
I'd be soiled.
My pants would be
Wet.
ruined, weathered.
Weathered. I do declare.
I do declare.
This is my Oklahoma accent. I do declare.
And molasses fall out the mouth.
Oh, fuck.
But, yeah. So, what about you, though? What you been thinking about?
Think about civilization.
No.
Oh, I did beat Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it.
No, I know, because you still haven't fucking bought it. You've got, like, a week, and I'm just telling you about it.
All right.
I'll just fucking pull up videos, start showing this shit. Come here, I want to show you this. And it's just like in the middle of a very intense spoiler. And you're like, oh my fucking God, man. What are you doing?
What?
Why would you do that? I mean, hey, it ain't my fault. No. So I did. I beat Spider-Man. Enjoyed that. Been playing a lot of Civ.
Yeah.
Like, when I ain't at work, I'm playing some Civ, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a chokehold on me. I've got it on my iPad. No, I need to find out if fucking Civ has, like, cross save. Like, can I cloud save on the computer and then fucking pick it up on my iPad?
You were telling me that it could do that for Apex.
Well, that's my...
for PC and console.
Well, well, that's coming in the new season. That's cross progression of like having, but I don't know. I wonder, because what if I got a save going on there and I want to try something different on the iPad controls? Kind of below dick, but in a pinch, you know. Yeah, right, moment. Train.
Yeah. The locomotive.
Thinking about the ticka ticka. That scares me still sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. No. I honestly forget
I miss
about
the
it.
old Cryptid. Straight from the gold Cryptid.
Fuck you talking about?
I miss the old Cryptid corner.
Yeah, I do too. You need to bring us a Cryptid. Not no ghosts. I want a Cryptid.
What?
Or we're going to rebrand it Chris's Creepy Corner.
Whoa. What? All right, man.
I want the old... What was the one that was so ugly it cries?
The Toad. It was the... I can't remember what it was.
Either way.
The Yogak or something like that.
Was it with a B?
Bogat.
Something like that.
It was the Bogart? No.
No. Humphrey Bogart, the actor? No, either way, yeah.
Imagine naming your son actually, let's take a second. Imagine having a son named Hubert.
I mean, people used to do it.
Imagine getting cheated on.
With a Hubert.
By somebody named Hubert.
Margaret.
Hey, man.
I mean, I always think about that, like...
What happened to you and Amy, bro?
We name, like...
Hubert.
We avoid naming kids the names of, like, old people because it's an old person's name.
Mm-hmm.
But when that person was named, it wasn't an old person's name.
Oh, yeah, eventually
it'll circle around. You're going to have grandfathers named, like, Colt. You know what I mean? And, you know, where people throw out fucking, this is Kylene, you know? And you're like, oh, God, stop fucking coming up with names, people.
Catherine.
Nah, that's a pretty standard name.
No.
But either way, yeah, there's going to be people with, like, isn't that a creative name?
Braxton.
That are, Grandpa Braxton.
Brylan.
Yeah, Brylan. Yeah, things like that. They're going to be a grandfather and a grandmother one day. And then people are going to be like, I'll tell you what I'm not naming my kid, Brylan. Because that's a granny's name.
I feel so bad for kids named like Braxton, Brylan.
Because they're kind of a meme.
Like, it's just like, what kind of fucking name is that? I've never heard that.
What if somebody's really proud of the name Braxton and you're just negging him right now?
What? You think I ain't got dogged on for my name?
Chris?
Yeah. I used to get bullied the shit for my name, bro. I don't care. Get over it.
You got bullied for the name Chris?
Mm-hmm.
For what reason? Like, what was the...
Are you a Christian?
That must have been real tough for you.
Yeah, it fucking was. It's a name. Who cares? Yeah, I mean, someone saying that versus me going, yeah, your name sucks.
Yeah.
And what's the difference?
Yeah.
Get over yourself. Don't listen to me. Doesn't matter. Well, listen to me, obviously. But
Yeah, right, yeah. It's real good advice. Don't listen to me on this podcast I do weekly.
I never said on this podcast.
Just if you
If your name's
catch me
Brylan or Braxton, catch me on fucking side, dude. You're going to catch these fucking hands in your mouth.
If you don't chew big red gum, then
Fuck you.
Nah, that's I think that's all I got for
That's
you.
all I got. What we talking about? We talking about FNAF next week?
I thought you were just barking for a second.
No.
I was like, oh, are you barking like a seal right now? What is that about?
Get your bucket, Gerald.
No, if you guys enjoyed this episode, obviously we want to thank you and make sure that you leave a like, review, all that good stuff. Like, favorite, subscribe, follow, on your audio. I almost said media.
Yeah,
Audio
I
stream.
thought you were about to say your schmeat.
On your schmeat.
Follow us
Follow us with your
schmeat.
schmeat. On
May
your
the
audio
Schwartz
streaming.
be with ya.
On your audio streaming service of choice. That way you can get notified when we post new episodes every Wednesday.
That's right.
Obviously, you know where to find us at this point. If this is your first episode,
Follow your fucking heart, dude.
if this is your first episode, I apologize, honestly, from the bottom of my heart.
Not very good.
This is some of our best work.
We should put in some of the bloopers that we had.
I don't think we can. There's international laws that
Legally,
yeah, like I don't.
based on the legality.
Yeah,
I don't think we
we'll have
can.
to consult legal and see. It's just Google. Who's our legal
After we
department?
talk to our lawyers.
Who's our legal department? It's my dad. I go, Dad, is that legal? And he's like, I think so.
I don't think so.
All right. Or he just goes, yeah, probably. Yeah.
Dad thinks it's good.
Good enough. Post it. Yeah.
Your dad.
Yeah. My father goes, yeah, it should be legal. I trust him. All right, let's run it. Post that. Now, if you saw Killers of the Flower Moon and you had thoughts, let us know. How would they do that, Chris?
You can always let us know. You can check out any of our socials at the Simply Whelmed Podcast for our Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube, too. You can always take a look at our Twitter. Our Twitter handle is whelmed_simply, or you can always send us an email at simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
That's right. Do that shit.
Do it.
Let's see. Next week, FNAF.
FNAF. Five Nights at Freddy. This way wanna be. Dude, did I ever tell you? Get a load of this shit.
I'll get a load of it.
The song Five Nights, that song by the Living Tombstone.
Okay.
I remember when that came out, I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
I had emailed the Living Tombstone via their business email on YouTube to tell them how much I enjoyed the song.
Yeah.
And how deeply
It impacted you.
it had touched me. And they replied.
Oh, yeah?
And
What did they say?
They just said thank you for listening and supporting the music, and we hope that, they're like, we hope you continue to listen to our music and just know that we love you at the bottom of our heart. Just like shit you'd say you're a
They
fan.
said, what's your address?
They said, what's your IP?
You trying to meet up?
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm
I'm in the 7th grade.
12. Shit. You trying to meet up?
What are you doing?
Shit.
You up?
We're going to have to cut that.
We are.
Yeah.
Like, we really
Let's
are.
ask Dad, is that legal?
Should be all right.
Yeah, probably. Legal, yes.
Morally correct?
No.
Sunny D1? Jalapin? Oh.
Oh, that's where I like to live, right in that sweet spot. Is it legal? Yeah. Is it morally reprehensible? Yeah.
But that's all I had.
Yep. FNAF. Watch that shit.
Yeah,
We're down.
We're gonna be on it. We'll let you know.
We'll go see
Don't
it.
listen to it and just listen to us, and
Yeah.
we'll tell you if you should go watch it or
the
not.
movie, and then we'll just tell you about it.
Yeah.
We'll give you a blow by blow,
Yeah.
and then you won't even have to watch it because we'll have basically given you the
We're
movie
gonna hit a
in your
point.
ears.
We're gonna hit a point in this podcast where you're just not gonna have to listen to movies, or you're not
watch
gonna have
movies.
to watch movies, listen to the news, listen to music.
You're gonna get
All
it
you'll
here.
have to do
We're gonna post
is listen to
4-hour
podcasts.
episodes daily.
It's gonna be live, 24/7.
Yeah.
You are just gonna live in the day.
I'm gonna get a
Of Chris.
colostomy bag. just so that way I don't even have to worry about it anymore. We just pay a nurse to come in and change our colostomy
You can
bags.
have a fart mic, but it's just them changing your colostomy bag.
I've just got a mic down by my midsection that you can just hear it pumping shit out like a fucking factory. Because I'm just stuffing food in the top and it's going in the bag in about 45 to 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's an expressway right there.
That's impressive.
What the fuck are we talking about, man?
I don't know. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.